Song Bikers, and welcome to the 106th SongBike Guitar Q&A Livestream. We're running a few minutes late, but we are running, and that's the goal. Hey, look at that chat. The chat is exploding. Hey, everybody. My name is Jonathan. You are tuned in to me and the SongBike Experience, streaming live from the Connecticut River Delta. We're in a beautiful July afternoon. I hope you're doing well where you are. Let's get right into it. I'm here for your questions. In between your questions, we have a poll question. We have 2 student quotes of the week. From the Do You Know category, we have 3 awesome performers that I can't wait to turn you on to. You may know one of them, you may know 2 of them, but you don't know all 3. Stick around for info about them. We're going to talk about the Smithsonian Folklife Festival and how it connects with Dolly Parton. We're going to talk about music therapy. We're going to talk about the Addams family, the Rolling Stones, When the Saints Go Marching In, a segment I call Should I Sell Out? My own dumb question of the week. I swear I only ask one. My wife may beg to differ. I ask it so you don't have to. We had a virtual play-along song of the week, a song I actually had to double check to make sure we didn't already do the song because it's a great song that's easy. It checks all the boxes I like to do for our virtual play-alongs, and somehow we have not done it already. Is it a blues song? Is it a country song? Is it a rock and roll song? Is it a folk song? Yes, this song checks a lot of boxes. We might capo up the song. We definitely need the capo for our Rolling Stones segment. So get your capo handy. When you have a question for me, put it in the chat with a whole bunch of question marks. You know the routine. All those question marks, the more the merrier. That's how I know your question is aimed at me. I want to say hello to all the wonderful people who are in the chat. Hey, how come some of you have those awesome crowns? What's new? What's going on? How come I see a crown number 2, a crown number 3. Mickey, how'd you get a crown? Joseph, how did you get a crown? Hey, Barry, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate that. Super chats are how you can support this live stream. Before I forget, no live stream next Saturday. I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation in 2 hours. So no live stream next week, but we'll be right back at it on August 2nd. So you guys tell me how you guys got those cool crowns next to your names. Wingo, I see you got number 3. Joseph, you got number 2. Mickey, you got number 2. I don't know. Is it how many comments you make? I don't know. That's something new. Our poll question of the week is as follows. Forgive my grammar. You're most likely to practice what? Are you most likely to practice just songs, your favorite songs, whatever songs strike you? Are you most likely to practice a balance of songs and scales and exercises and all that technical stuff? Or, and I don't expect this is going to be the majority of you, do you practice only scales, exercises, arpeggios, and so on? I'm very curious. I do not know who voted how in the poll, okay? So there's no reason to be shy. Let us know. Yeah, Scott Rhodes says, I want a crown. Oh, maybe if you vote in the poll, you get a crown. Barry says, can't you do the live stream from the plane? It's a driving vacation. And yeah, I could do the live stream from vacation. I could, but you know what? I'm trying to cut the cord. And I don't know if I'll even be on my phone on vacation. I probably will. So maybe if you vote in the poll, you get a little crown next to your name. I don't know. Everybody vote and we'll find out. Rock Lobster, I hope we can connect when I head up to Maine. I don't know exactly what my schedule is, but Rock Lobster, you and I can message each other and stay in touch. Any of you who plan to be in southern Maine, there's a great guitar shop in Portland called Buck Dancer's Choice, and I'm going to go there at least once sometime next week. I don't know when. If you follow me on social media, that is definitely how I'll let everyone know when I'll be over at Buck Dancer's Choice. Come and help me. Come and stop me from spending money. Buck Dancer's Choice in Portland, Oregon, and Portland, Maine. Any of you who happen to be in that part of Maine next week, maybe we can all connect there. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to fix this curtain. Does it really matter? I don't know. What? Who knows? I'm running on I'm running on hopes and dreams. Chris says, have a great vacation. Have a nice vacation. Thanks. Bob has a question. Bob, let me read your question real quick. Okay, Bob says, I'm 75 years young, just learning and can strum a bit. I just noticed when doing scales, C major and B minor pentatonic are the same. I'm bamboozled. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I bet you mean C major pentatonic and A minor pentatonic. Yeah, awesome question. And I'm not itching anything. I'm just getting a pick out of my pocket. There we go. Okay, so Bob, I'm gonna interpret your very good question as comparing the C major pentatonic and the A minor pentatonic. So let's get right into it. Bob, yes, you're right. Okay, good. Pentatonic scales are the most useful scales you're ever going to learn if you're into playing popular Western music. You should learn every scale in the world, as many as possible, but you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck from pentatonic scales. So, Bob, I'm going to use this particular version of the C major pentatonic / A minor pentatonic to illustrate my point here now, because it seems to be the one that everyone learns when they learn a pentatonic scale at the neck. Starting on the 6th string, the fat E string, 5/8 with my index and my pinky, 5/7 on the A string, 5/7 on the D string, 5/7 on the G string, back to 5/8, 5/8. I will put this in the description of this video. You do not have to memorize what I just said, but many of you know this, I bet. 5/8, 5/7, 5/7, 5/7, 5/8, 5/8. Okay, that is a group of notes. No matter which string, which fret I played at, I was playing only 5 names. Every note I played had one of 5 names: A, C, D, E, G. A, C, D, E, G. Those 5 notes, by the way, pentatonic 5 tones, A, C, D, E, and G. Those are the 5 notes of an A minor pentatonic scale. I'm going to ask you, trust me on that. They also happen to be the same 5 notes as the C major pentatonic scale. Let's start with that one first. The C major pentatonic is the same as a C major scale, a do, re, mi, fa, so kind of scale with 2 notes missing. Oh, you know what? Every week I put out this white paper, and some weeks I use it and some weeks I don't. This week is a black Sharpie week. Those of you who have supported the Sharpie Fund, today is the day. Okay, a C major scale. There's a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Again, you do not have to memorize it, but doesn't that look very nice? It looks like the alphabet, right? C, D, E, F, G. No flats, no sharps, no curveballs, unless you are thrown by the fact that in music, the next higher note after G is the note A, right? That's a little curveball for you, but you guys knew that already. There's the C major scale. C major pentatonic, we eliminate 2 of the notes. We eliminate the 4th note, the 4th scale degree, the note F, and we eliminate the 7th scale degree, B. So it's a C major scale without 2 of the notes. Pentatonic, 5 tones. Now, for reasons that are slightly above my pay grade, I can't explain why the major pentatonic sound or the minor pentatonic sound, I can't explain why it's so appealing and why it's found in cultures all over, not every culture all over the planet, but in many, many disparate, different cultures, the pentatonic scale can be found. Why? I don't know. I'm not going to venture a guess. I have a few theories. It's a very appealing sound. It's a very broad, basic, powerful sound. Okay, so you good with that? Now you might say, okay, Jonathan, the whole point here was a C major pentatonic and the A minor pentatonic. It's the same group of notes. The formula to go from the C major to the C major pentatonic was a very simple formula. We just essentially eliminated the F and the B, the 4th and the 7th notes, and there you go. The formula to go to to create an A minor pentatonic, slightly trickier, but not for you, because you are going to do just fine with this. Okay, we always start with a major scale. You could ask me what the weather is today, and I would answer, well, you take a major scale and then you look out the window. Everything always goes back to a major scale, even though we're going to be talking about a minor pentatonic. Hear me out. Okay, I'm holding in my hands a piece of paper with the 7, really 8 notes of an A major scale. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Those of you who are already zoning out because of this sharp business, don't let that freak you out, okay? They're just notes. They're just other frets of the guitar. The sharps themselves are nothing any of us have to stress out about at the moment, okay? So tune back in. There's our A major pentatonic. Remember we took the A major scale, Remember we took the C major scale, eliminated a few notes, and that was the formula. We subtracted the 4th and the 7th notes. That was the formula. Okay, the formula to get to a minor pentatonic. Here's some good news. I'm not done yet, but hear me out. The formula to get to a minor pentatonic. From the A major scale, from the major scale, we keep the first note, the note A over here, and we keep the 4th and the 5th. We retain those. Now we're aiming for an A minor pentatonic. So those are 3 of the 5 notes right there. Easy peasy. What's left? We take the 3rd note and we change it. We lower it a half step. In this case, it was C sharp. We make it a C instead. Again, those of you who are freaked out by this, don't freak out. Don't worry. This is just, that's it. Whatever the 3rd note is, we go back a half step, back a fret, lower a half step. In this case, that would turn a C sharp to a C. And we do the same thing with the 7th degree, that G sharp. We lower that a half step and we have a G. And there you go. Now, you do not have to memorize or even 100% understand everything I just said, although I know a lot of you do. But look at the end results. A C major scale, C, D, E, G, A. An A minor scale, A, C, D, E, G. Same 5 notes. Isn't that beautiful? Now, what does that mean on a practical level? Any time you're asked to play a C major pentatonic scale, or any time you're asked to play an A minor pentatonic scale, you can put your hand in the same place and play both sequences, and you're doing the right thing. Here's a scenario I want you to imagine. A friend of yours has a great band. They play in bars and clubs, and you're going to sit in with the band, and they're going to play a country tune. They want you to play a guitar solo for the country tune, and the country tune's in the key of C. And you know that a C major pentatonic is a great source of notes if you're going to solo, if you're going to improvise in the key of C. And so you rock out with your C major pentatonic scale, you play a great solo, and the solo is so great, the band says, stay on stage with us, man. We're going to do another song. The next song is a minor key song. It's in the key of A minor, House the Rising Sun, something like that. Play another solo. You're going to do the same notes. You're going to have the same amount of fun. You don't have to do anything differently. Now, what you do with those notes, the sliding and bending and all that kind of stuff, sure, that might vary a little bit. But get what I'm saying? Same group of notes. Now, one reason this is one of the best phenomena you will ever come across in music is you only learn the scales one time. There are not 2 sets of pentatonic scales. You don't learn your major pentatonics and then start from 0 and learn your minor pentatonics. Instead, you learn the relationship between the 2, okay? And I'll demonstrate the relationship in a physical sense in a second, okay? I can't tell you how happy I was as a young man when I learned a pentatonic is a pentatonic. You just have to know the identity. You don't have to you don't have to relearn anything, You just have to know where where the 1 is, where the tonic is, where your home base is. Okay, so ready? I'm going to use this 5, 8, 5, 7. I'm going to stick with this as our exemplar. Okay, 5 on the fat string. That's the note A. That's where you find the identity of this pentatonic pattern. The minor identity, I should say. And by doubling down on that note A, I'm convincing you we're in a minor world. Okay? Now, I'm going to jam a little bit, but I'm going to make my focus the 8th fret on the 6th string. That's the note C. I'm hoping to gently brainwash you into thinking that we're suddenly in the key of C, and I'm playing a C major pentatonic, not an A minor pentatonic. Here's my C note. Okay? There are your two, the two notes that help you identify the minor identity and the major identity. Okay? Last thing, this pattern that I taught you, my nickname for this is the headquarters pattern. You can take the headquarters pattern, move it anywhere up and down the neck. In fact, you're going to need to do this. Maintaining the same relationships. Instead of 5-8, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, you could do 2-5, 2-4, 2-4, 2-4, 2-5, 2-5. Same combination. I'll put this in the chat as well. Same relationships. 2 up 3 frets to 5. The next string, 2 up 2 frets to 4. My fingers think they're doing the same thing. They're stretching in the same way, right? It's just that I'm using this 2 as my lowest note, 2 on the 6th string. Okay, so what is the name of this thing I'm doing? My index finger, 2 on the fat string. That name, the name of that note, is the name of the minor pentatonic I'm playing for you guys right now, F sharp. So this is for sure an F sharp minor, F sharp minor pentatonic. My pinky on the 6th string, 5th fret, that note is the note that is, shares the name of the identity of the major pentatonic. That's the note A, 6th string, 5th fret. So this is also an A major pentatonic. So again, hypothetically, a band has me or you on stage, and they're like, "Oh man, first song's in F sharp minor. Please play a solo." And I'm like, F sharp minor. I'm rocking out an F sharp minor. Man, play the next song with us. It's an A major. Great. A major. I'm not going to move my hand. I'm going to emphasize the A notes a lot more. I've got an A, 5th fret on the skinny 1st string. Okay, so I think I'm done. But Bob, you asked a great question. The A minor pentatonic and the C major pentatonic, same 5 notes, just a musical quirk that makes our lives so much simpler. So keep this final thought in mind. Anytime you practice any pentatonic scale, whatever pentatonic scale you play, anywhere on the neck, because there's 5 different pentatonic scales. The headquarters pattern is just one of them. Any pentatonic scale you ever play has a minor name and a major name. And it's really good if you can figure out those 2 names. Whoever is teaching you, wherever you're learning it, it might give it one name, which is great. You want to know the other name as well. And this is a topic that we can return to in the future. There's lots to say about this, but I'll move on. I'll move on from there. Wingo says the crowns are for the highest commenters, although a super chat trumps that. Wow. This is a new thing, right, you guys? I do not remember this from last week. That wacky YouTube. Bob, you are very welcome. Thanks for the great question. It's a subject I really enjoy talking about. Winston, I'm reading your excellent point. Yeah, Winston says major scales and relative minor scales have the same notes. Yeah, you're right. Now, so for the moment, we're not talking about pentatonics, okay? We're talking about just your classical do, re, mi. Yeah. Any major scale contains within it a minor scale known as the relative minor scale. Yep. And the relative minor scale that is, embedded within the major scale is named after the sixth note of the major scale. So I'm going to use my clipboard again. Here's my C major scale. I count across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sixth note or the sixth scale degree is A. The A minor scale, to be proper, we should call it the A natural minor scale. The A natural minor scale is the relative minor scale of C major. They're related to each other. It's the same bunch of notes. So again, hypothetically, some band has you on stage and they're playing a song in the key of C, and you choose to solo with a C major scale. You don't have to do C major pentatonic. You can solo with a C major scale. And you sound so great soloing with the C major scale. They have you stay on the stage. The next song is the key of A minor. You can choose from the same group of notes. You can rock out with the same bunch of notes. Okay, so let's leave it at that. But I love it. I love these questions. Okay, let's get into a few things I have planned for you guys in no particular order. Remember we were talking about whiteout last week? I went out and got whiteout. There you go, as promised. You guys made some nice contributions. I went into the supply fund and I used your generous contributions. I got some whiteout and I've used it already one time, and I'm sure I'll use it many more times. Anybody know the history of whiteout? Anybody who knows who started it? A woman in a office who did a lot of typing was tired of making the mistakes that she made and frustrated. And she thought to herself, I am going to bring a little white paint to work tomorrow in a little bottle. And if next time I make a mistake, I'm just going to white it out and I'll type over it. And the other typists saw her that next day and said, oh, you got to bring me some. I'll take some of that. And the rest is history. And who was that woman? Joseph, you know it. Wingo, you know it. Winston, everyone knows. I was hoping to stump somebody. Everybody in the world seems to know that the woman, aside from inventing whiteout, she also invented Mike Nesmith. She gave birth to Mike Nesmith of the Monkees, the guy who was always wearing the hat. And so now what did Mike Nesmith invent? Sort of. Mike Nesmith had the idea to have a TV channel that showed nothing but music videos, which led to MTV. So, I've heard this. I'll let you guys do the research. But essentially, Mike Nesmith is at least partially credited with a concept of MTV. So mom invents whiteout, son invents MTV. Why not? Why not? I don't know. I love it. Hey, Randy and Chaz, thank you guys for your super chat donations. You guys are too kind, and I will use it wisely. John is asking the best question ever. John says, oh, John, you didn't put question marks in front of your question, so, but I still managed to see it because it involved the word money. John says, I'm a little late to this, but how do I donate money? I enjoy the show very much. John, it's easy peasy. Down at the bottom of the chat, there's a little rectangle with a $sign, and you click on that $sign, and I believe the rest is pretty easy. They probably give you some options for how you want to make a donation. I've done it. I've contributed super chats myself in the past, but it's been a little while, so I'm not sure what happens after you click on that. But if I did it, it can't be that hard. Charlie Beagle is pointing out that Peter Tork from the Monkees was from Connecticut. Yeah. And Chris Grates is saying Michael Nesmith wrote the song Different Drum. Yeah, that the Stone Pony, was that the name of the band, or the Stone Ponies, featuring the great voice of what singer, Chris, you know this, who sang the Different Drum song before she became super famous as a solo artist. You guys know this? Try to the beat of a different drum. Don't you know the words? What a great song. Who is the singer that we're hearing? I know you guys know that. Matthew. Hello, Matthew. And you guys know, yeah, Linda Ronstadt, you guys all know, Joseph and Chris and Scott, everybody knows Linda Ronstadt, what a voice, right? Okay, so let's bang out a couple of details of what I have written down here. Okay, 2 great student quotes of the week. I have a young student. He's like 14 going on 40, and he always says hilarious things that are somehow constantly surprising to me. He and I are doing bass lessons and drum lessons, but he managed to get his hands on a 6-string electric guitar. And he said, he came to his lesson and said, hey, I played a 6-string electric guitar for the first time this week. And he said, I could just feel the ego. Yeah. Something about that, right? You got your electric guitar, and as soon as you're holding it, yeah. So that was one of the student quotes of the week. He said, I could just feel the ego. Second student quote of the week, interesting in another way. I have an adult student who just started up, and where I was listening to him talk about where he's at and what he wants out of the guitar and what he can already do and what he would like to do. And he said something that I can relate to, and I know you can relate to it. He said, I can entertain myself on the guitar, but I can't satisfy myself. I thought, yeah, man, who has not been there? You can make good sounds, you can do some things, but the goal is to satisfy yourself, and that's a long-term, or at least it seems like it's a long-term project, right? So I thought that was very enlightening and interesting how he put that. He can entertain himself on the guitar, but he wants to satisfy himself, and that's not the same thing. Hey, John, you figured out the super chat. I appreciate that, John. Thank you very much. So our 2 student quotes of the week. Other topics that I like to talk about. Should I sell out? Only one offer this week. Someone emailed me to see if I would try to sell to you a shade sale. Like if you have a deck and you install this thing that shelters you from the sun up above your deck, a shade sail. That's what I was offered. Should I sell out? I don't know. That's what I was offered to sell to you this week. Those of you, there are 2 of you left who won t-shirts in our 100th live stream giveaway. And I haven't forgotten about you. I'm still waiting on those t-shirts, but I haven't forgotten about you. So you know who you are. One of you is waiting for a pizza t-shirt from my neighbor, the pizza place right next door. And the other of you is waiting for a t-shirt from my favorite used bookstore. I haven't forgotten about you guys. What else? Okay, let's play something, man. Let's play something. Okay. A segment I call WTF, a weekly teaching feature. These are things that came up in my lessons, my in-person one-on-one lessons during the week. And I make a little note, and I say to myself, you know what, that would be a good thing to do on the live stream. So here comes number 1 from the Rolling Stones. Recently, a number of students, more than one, have said, ooh, could we do the intro to Paint It Black? And I say, of course we can. Paint It Black from the Rolling Stones, you need a capo. Grab a capo. If you don't have a capo, you can still play this, but capo on the 3rd fret if you would like to sound like the Rolling Stones. Okay. That's better. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. I'm going to play for a minute, slow and steady. Okay, so what's going on here with Paint It Black? Again, capo on the 3rd fret. Okay. What we have is a beautiful use of a drone string. The 4th string, also known as the D string. Remember when I say 4th string, I mean the 4th skinniest string. You're going to be doing this back and forth, up, down picking between, let's call it a melody note with an upstroke and a downstroke on the 4th string as an open string. Up, down, up, down, up, down. So this is very much a picking exercise. It can feel disorienting to have to skip over strings. 2nd string, 4th. 1st string, 4th. 1st string again, fourth, right? It can feel, I mean, if some of you are going to the extent that any of you struggle with this, some of you, it's not easy peasy. You're going to struggle with that picking, jumping back and forth. Please, please, please do this with a plastic pick. Yes, you could do it with your bare fingers. Frankly, it would make it easier to do it with your bare fingers because you could have, for instance, your thumb just hanging out there on that D string. But do it with a pick, man. Challenge yourself. Okay, what do we need? See how it says a D minor chord? The notes that your fretting hand is going to be fretting are almost all directly related to a D minor chord. You certainly want to be thinking and visualizing a D minor chord. That's going to make your decision making that much easier. Ring finger, second string 3. Open first string. Index finger, first string, first fret. Now check it out. Pinky, first string, 3rd fret. Back to the index. In fact, I never took my index off that first string, 1st fret. Why take it off, right? The pinky's going to cancel it out, and I'm just going to go back to the index finger anyways. Open first string. And finally, for the first line, an upstroke, 3rd string, 2nd fret. I'm going to play that first line without talking so much. By the way, that 3rd string, 2nd fret, that's, again, a note from the D minor chord. Okay, second line is where things get especially interesting melodically. The first measure of the second line. 3, 2, 3, open. I want to talk about that 2 for a minute. That 2 is the note C sharp. The inclusion of the note C sharp means that the melody here is not based on a D minor scale the way you'd think, right? Hey, D minor, we're playing a D minor chord, it has a minor sound. Technically, it's the D harmonic minor, the D harmonic minor scale. It's all because of that C sharp. And if that C sharp grabs you, when I say C sharp, I'm talking about 2nd string, 2nd fret. If that grabs you as a powerful note that adds a nice tension, you are reacting to the effect of the harmonic minor tonality. Second line. Very cool. Okay, we have come up to the last line, last measure of the last line. Oh, so fun. With a downstroke on your 2nd string, a double hammer-on, 0, 2, 3. 1 pluck, but 3 sounds, a double hammer-on. I highly recommend using your middle finger to hammer on 2nd string, 2nd fret, and your ring finger to continue hammer on 2nd string, 3rd fret. Please only pluck the string once with your pick, and then work on getting 3 clear tones using the extreme tip of your left hand. I did that with a downstroke. Now I'm going to do an upstroke on the 1st string open. What happens next? A double pull-off. Before you attempt a double pull-off, sounds like something from the Summer Olympics, you need to have both notes in place. Ring finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret, middle finger simultaneously pressing down on the 2nd string, 2nd fret. 2 fingers at the same time. Again, I'm only going to pluck it once. I'm going to pull off my ring finger and then my middle finger. Anytime you do a double hammer-on or a double pull-off, just accept the fact that the sound is going to get somewhat quieter. When that double pull-off at the end there, 3, 2, 0, that last 0, it's going to be a little faint. Here's why that's not a huge issue. The final note that I'm going to pluck with an upstroke, that's that C sharp again, 2 on the 2nd string, that note is going to show up so fast the listener doesn't have time to think too much about how faint the zero was right before the final note. You know what I mean? So don't beat yourself up too much. Take it slow. Oops. Okay, so this is a song that has come up a couple times recently, actually, with different students. And that's what I thought I'd share with you guys. As a teacher, here's what I like about it. It introduces the idea of this drone string, that fourth string, the D string droning along. By the way, I've seen transcriptions of this where that droning zero on the fourth string doesn't happen every single time. It happens a little bit in the beginning, but then it kind of drops out. I am including it after every melody note because two reasons. It sounds great, and it's such a cool challenge in general that you might as well include that open D string droning along every time, even though, you know, the tab police, the Rolling Stones tab police might say, hey, that's not exactly how Keith Richards plays it. I get it. Just that sounds so good. So fun. Okay, you guys good? You good with that? Questions, comments? Okay, I see you guys are talking about the poll question. You guys are you guys are getting to the poll question. Barry is encouraging me to sell out, make money, and make that vacation a permanent one. I know that we have to sell a lot of shade sales. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I can say. I don't know. Hey, in case you want an update, I know you guys can see the poll results as well, I believe, but the poll question, which I almost got grammatically correct, the question is, you're most likely to practice what? Songs only, scales and exercises only, or a mix? And the big surprise is that almost 20% of you practice mostly or only scales and exercises and things like that. That's interesting. Randy says that's hard. Randy, you're talking about the painted black intro. Yeah, not exactly easy, right? But if you go, I'm going to state the obvious, like I always do. If you go slowly enough, it's easy. It's just that it's very humbling to go slowly. And you have to find out, you know, what slowly means to you and paint it black, right? But it's not that it's, I've had students say, oh, I can't play slow, it's so hard, I just can't do it, I just can't do it. And what I hear is, I don't have the discipline. I don't have the discipline to slow it down, which I understand. And yet, you know, the same student who says, oh, I can't play it slowly, they're not playing it very well at a fast speed either. So what are you going to do? You know, something has to change, you know? And I include myself in that category too. I like to think that after years and years of being humbled by stuff, I pretty readily accept that I have to do something slowly if I'm going to get it right. Christian, I see your question. Christian, you're asking about like when pull-offs, do we think of them as 8th notes or 16th notes, right? Is that what you're asking? Pull-offs, by definition, pull-offs are almost, and hammer-ons, they're almost always a relatively fast, if not a very fast sound, right? Because your fretting hand is taking part in producing music in an active, kind of aggressive way. You can play twice as fast as opposed to if you only did picking, right? So you are very likely to see hammer-ons and pull-offs written out as the faster notes. 8th notes or triplets at the bottom of Painted Black. Those are triplets. Those 3 notes, the double hammer-on, the double pull-off, with a 3 in a bracket underneath. Or you're extremely likely to see hammer-ons and pull-offs written out as 16th notes because they lend themselves to those fast kind of rhythms. So it'd be, I would say it'd be pretty rare to see hammer-ons and pull-offs written as nice, slow quarter notes. Because if something is so slow, then you just pick it very deliberately. And yeah. So Christian, I hope I'm answering your question, but feel free to clarify in the chat and set me straight. Okay, Painted Black, what you're looking at there is the type of document that after tonight's live stream, I will upload it to my website, song-bike.com, where you can see it and a million other PDFs that I have posted. Okay, maybe not a million, but we're getting close to 100 of various songs, exercises, things that we have covered here in the live stream over the past 105 live streams, but also PDFs that relate to different videos I've posted on YouTube. And it's all there for members of my website. So why not? Why not? Hey, it's a way that you can, by becoming a member, you support this whole endeavor, but you also get something from it, right? You get access to PDFs and videos and all this kind of stuff. And you get my heartfelt thanks, song-bike.com. Ooh, and while you're there, get yourself something for free. In fact, any of you guys know this, right? The SongBike Blues Guide, it's free, F-R-E-E, free. Over at my website, you just go there, you type in your email address, and the electronic book, the PDF, gets sent to whatever email address you type in there. It gets sent to you instantly. You could put in your friend's email address, give them a copy. You want to give someone a present? Well, I should have thought of this. Ooh, marketing 101. Maybe you already have it. Maybe you have interests outside of blues guitar. That's okay. But if you want to give a present to a blues guitar player, give them a free copy of the book. Just all you have to do is go to my website, type in their email address, and they'll get a copy of it. They might have some questions, so you might want to follow up with them and tell them, hey, that thing that showed up, I sent that to you. You're going to like it. But my blues guide, I'm very proud of it. It's short and sweet. It's a ton of information, a couple of cool pictures. I think you'll love it. Okay. Hey, moving on. I'm going to check off some of these things. My dumb question of the week. Okay. My dumb question, I ask it so you don't have to. Can you learn everything about music just from playing songs? Like, do you have to study music theory? Do you have to learn the A minor pentatonic scale? If you just played songs, sooner or later, aren't you going to kind of learn all that stuff anyways? I mean, just like chords, for example. You play enough songs that you learn all the most common chords, right? Sooner or later, you're going to need B minor. Sooner or later, you're going to need an F sharp minor, a C major 7. You play enough songs. Do you really need to go out and buy a book of like how to play chords? Couldn't you just learn everything just from songs and not, I'll give you another example. Rumble, good old Link Ray, Rumble. Well, from Rumble, you get that great riff in Link Ray's classic 1956 song. It contains the E minor pentatonic scale, also known as the G major pentatonic scale. So, I mean, you just learn that song and you have a scale, right? So that's my dumb question of the week. Can you just learn songs and kind of pick up everything that way? Kind of. In an ideal situation, you'd have a very curated list of songs with very specific explanations as to what you get from that song. For instance, Rumble teaches you that minor pentatonic scale. Rumble also teaches you 3 major chords, E, A, and D, and 1 7th chord, B7. So, hey, you get a lot from that song, Rumble. If you do the pentatonic scale riff that I just played, if you do that with down-up picking, then you get experience doing down-up picking. I mean, and you should do it with down-up picking. So this is kind of how I teach to some extent, choosing songs that give you the skills that you need to play a million other songs. And then we name stuff, right? I don't just say, oh, there's a bunch of notes from Rumble. Well, that's specifically the pentatonic scale. And to the extent that the student is ready, we talk about like, well, why is it called the E minor pentatonic scale and so on. So what do you guys think? Can you just play songs all the time? Do you really have to? Do you really? Yeah, Charlie Beagle is saying, if you can achieve the sounds you're looking for, does it matter? Does it matter if you know the principles behind it? I mean, RB is saying, Scales help you understand music better and understand different playing styles. I can't argue that, Now, there's no right or wrong, because this is it's your guitar, man. Do what you want on it. Have fun. In fact, make sure you have fun on it, whatever you do. For some people, playing scales with a metronome, that is fun. That's their thing, down, up picking, speeding up the metronome incrementally, getting faster and faster at, a certain blues scale, say. Some people, that's their idea of fun. Nothing wrong with that. So my answer to my own dumb question is, if you had a really specific, really great list, and with really clear explanations, so you'd play the song, but something would have a big star next to it and say, hey, this strum pattern, for example, is going to show up in a million more songs. This is not a strum pattern that's isolated to this tune, so don't forget this one. Get good at it, as you guys know, many of us, we chase after songs. Say, I want to learn this one. I want to learn that one. And that can lead to frustrations, because, someone on YouTube made this song look kind of easy, and they explained it was easy. On Ultimate Guitar, you guys ever look at the tab on Ultimate Guitar, and up at the top, they say difficulty level, and often it says easy. Well, if it were easy, we wouldn't need to look it up on the internet and see how to play it, right? If it was just this easy, intuitive thing. Frustrating. RB says, sticking to the scales and not going your own way is not good music either. Yeah. You need a plan. You need a plan and a goal. John Mayer. I've quoted John Mayer on a couple of things. And so that leads me to believe that I'm more likely to listen next time he says something, giving guitar advice or something. John Mayer says, one problem that many musicians have is they don't have smaller incremental goals. They just want to be good. They want to be the best. They want to, and until they get to that point, he's implying that there's a lot of dissatisfaction, frustration, nothing but dissatisfaction and frustration, because they're not the best in the world. They're not on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. That was a song, right? Cover of Rolling Stone magazine. So yeah, incremental goals. That's how you climb a mountain, right? So yeah, you need a plan. You need to think about where you want to be, when you want to be there, and what's the best way to get there. And that's why it helps to have some kind of teacher, right? Someone, to bounce ideas off of, and to, maybe someone to push you to be more ambitious, or someone to say, hey, look, how about if we start with this and then ease on up? So just get back to Rumble by Link Ray. To me, that song checks so many boxes. It's got 4 pretty basic chords that you have to learn. It's got that great pentatonic scale. You spend 20 minutes or more practicing Rumble, that's time well spent. And if you already can play Rumble, it's easy peasy. Yeah, good. Changing between those easy chords, down, up, picking. No. And A to Z Me says, play Freebird. And that pretty much sums it all up. Play Freebird. I don't know. Okay. The Billy Joel documentary on HBO. Anybody tune into that? The part 1 was last night, I think. And part 2 is this coming Friday. It's called And So It Goes, a documentary about the life and music of Billy Joel. And it sounds pretty good. I haven't seen it myself. I can't keep track of which cable channels we get in my house. I don't think we get HBO. So I don't know. But the hype I heard about it, when I heard some of his earliest stuff from the Stranger album, brought back so many memories, man. Whenever that album came out, 676, give or take, I'll tell you in a second, the big kids in my neighborhood were talking about music. And even at that young age, I was tuned into what are they talking about? And I heard one of them say to the other that there's a good album out called The Stranger by Billy Joel, and the other concurred. He said, yeah, I've heard that's a good album. And don't you know, that little Jonathan made a beeline, man. The next time I was at the department store, I went and got that album, The Stranger by Billy Joel. And what year would that have been? Humor me for a second here. 1977. Yeah, I was a little kid, and what a great album. I had good taste. I had good ears. I heard what the big kids were talking about, and I thought, good enough for me. Hey, Bruce is tuning in from Sydney, Australia. Hey, Bruce, and Byron. Hey, you guys, welcome. Rock Lobster, is that your musical philosophy on what to play? Rock Lobster says, I just jump around and don't worry about it. You know what? That's probably a good attitude. You know, throw your strap over your shoulder, turn it up to 11, and then just jump around, man. You know what? That's not the worst attitude at all by any means. Okay, you guys ready for our virtual play along tonight? Bet you are. You do not need a capo. Actually, I hold that thought. I might have you use a capo because this one is in an interesting key. So here's what you do need for sure. Only 3 chords. 3 chords. You need D, A, and G. All right, you got D, A, and G. Easy peasy. Okay. I'm laughing because of how big and obvious this is. Okay, here comes tonight's virtual play-along song. There you go. Is that big and bright enough? If it takes a minute to show up on your screen, do not fret. Your screen might go black, might not go black. But if it goes black, it should appear sooner or later. The Midnight Special. Midnight Special has been recorded and sung by a variety of people over the years. Many people know it as coming from the pen of John Fogerty and Creedence Clearwater Revival, but it didn't really come from his pen. They just did a great version of it that, for a lot of us, that's how we heard the song Midnight Special. It's a song that goes way back into our pre-rock and roll times. Lead Belly did a version of the Midnight Special. I don't know how far back it goes. It goes back a ways. What do you need for Midnight Special? You need 3 chords, D, A, and G. Now, you do not need a capo to play along with Creedence. So then why am I testing out a capo right now? Because instead of pushing my voice to sing as high as John Fogerty does, I'm going to take the song down an octave. But that's a little too low. So I think I'm going to capo at the 4th fret to make up the difference, or to ease up the song a little bit. Well, you wake up in the morning. Yeah, let's go with that. So humor me, my friends. For tonight's specific play along, capo at the 4th fret. Take off the capo as soon as you want to play along with the Creedence Clearwater Revival version of the song. Okay? The capo is just to humor me. Beginner guitar lesson says, oh, you can hit those high notes. Oh, I can hit them. But it just wouldn't be pretty, man. Actually, I have no idea. I don't know. But I do know that, I do know the capo at the 4th fret and these chords, life is good. Okay, so we're going to actually start this in a second. For once, there's not going to be a massive discussion of how to play this song. The reason there's a D in the beginning is technically, I'm going to make that sound like John Fogerty does. I'm going to start singing, well, you wake up in the morning. The song, the chord progression that you see in front of you, G, D, A, D, that begins on the word morning, okay? But the D chord there gets the D tonality out there in the world. The song's in the key of D. It just happens that the repetitive chord progression, G, D, A, D, over and over again, it happens to be a chord progression that doesn't begin on the 1 chord. You've heard me say many times that you can take a really educated guess as to what key the song is in by the 1st chord, but you're not 100% guaranteed to be right, but it's a really good guess. It is a good guess. It just doesn't work in this case because the basic chord progression is G, D, A, D, and the song's not in the key of G. That's okay. But I wanted to get that D tonality out there, just like John Fogerty did. La da 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 da. And then once we get into the G, D, A, D chord progression, that's what's going to repeat over and over and over again. Okay. Yeah, Charlie, you know the lyrics. There you go. Joseph, yeah, you could, if that is comfortable for you, you could call the D chord the intro chord. You know, I mean, it certainly is the first thing that happens. So in terms of left hand, there's your chords. You are welcome to fret G in any way you please, any old way you want to. This is one of those songs where you have absolute complete freedom, however you usually would do a D chord, a G chord. Strum patterns. We're on each one of those chords for 4 slow counts. At least that's what's indicated there, those 4 slash marks. Wake up in the morning, hear the ding-dong ring, and they march you to the table. That's the A. See the same old thing. So at a minimum, 4 slow chords, you're up and running. Can you do more than that? I thought you'd never ask, of course, you know. You could, during the course of those 4 clicks, da 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 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, da da da. You could think of that as 4 watermelons, and by watermelon I mean down up, down up. Watermelon, 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 D, watermelon, march to the table, same old thing. You might know from the song that it starts off with kind of a folky groove, and then they straighten it out pretty quickly. La da 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 da. You could do it with those kind of aggressive, slightly muted sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da 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 da. That's a little more aggressive, a little more in keeping with the rock vibe that the song kind of quickly gets into. The good old calypso strum, down, down, up, down. The only problem with that is it imparts such a folky flavor, and for a lot of us, that was the first drum pattern we ever learned. And while it fits this, I mean, you can squeeze it into this song. I don't recommend it for this song. Certainly not if you have lots of choices. I would not choose this one. If it's the only way you can strum it, I get it. But I wouldn't recommend it as like the best way to reflect the groove of the tune. Okay, so what are we going to do then? So how are we going to play it? How about in the beginning, I'm going to take it with kind of a rubato free time thing, kind of like he does. One strum per chord. How about that? Let's go with that strum for once the song begins rolling along. Down, down, up, down, 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 up. Red pepper, down, down, up, down. Red pepper. 4 red peppers per chord. D pepper, D pepper. Down, down, up, down, down, up. Some of you are doing it wrong. Down. I heard that. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Red pepper. And I'm going to try to stick with that. And then as the groove kicks in, then I'm going to revert to all downstrokes. muting a little bit, focusing on the heavier strings. We'll see what happens. I'm ready if you're ready. A lot of lyrics to this tune. I'm going to sing, I'm sure, some of the same lyrics as the Creedence version. There's other lyrics too. It's all good. You ready? I'll see you on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you wake up in the morning when the ding-dong rings. You go marching to the table, get the same old thing. Knife and fork are on the table, and there's nothing in the pan. You say anything about it, you get in trouble with the man. Let the midnight special shine a light on me. Let the midnight special shine a light on me. Well, on the compass, Rosie, how the world do you know? Well, I can tell her by her apron, by the dress she wore, umbrella on her shoulder, piece of paper in her hand. Well, you better, the governor, please free my man. Let the midnight special shine a light on me. Let the midnight special shine a light on me. Well, if you go to Houston, boy, you better walk right. And you better not argue, and you better not fight, 'cause the sheriff will arrest you, and the judge will send you down. And you're gonna get sentenced, penitentiary bound. Let the midnight special shine a light on me. Let the midnight special shine a light on me. Well, I'm gonna leave you, my time ain't long, and a man is gonna call me, oh, and I'll be gone. I'll be done with the weeping and the hollering and crying. I'll be gone with the studying about my great long time. Oh, the midnight special, shine a light on me. Let the midnight special shine a light on me. Anybody catch that D7? Anytime you're on a D chord and you know a G chord is coming up, yeah, D7. I didn't mention that. It's not on the piece of paper. Imagine that last D of the sequence, half of that on a D chord and half that time on a D7. Nice little drama. Just there at the end, that's the midnight special. I changed to an A7. A little more drama, a little tension. Shine a light on me. And you know what popped into my head? The thing we did a couple live streams ago, a way to find the blue notes that are orbiting around the D chord. First string, first fret, and third string, first fret. In both cases, I slid from those bluesy notes to a chord tone. Handy, right? Convenient. All right. So a couple of different strum patterns there. You know your job. Take off the capo, crank up the Creedence version, play along with it. All right. I'm sure you did great. Good job. A to Z says, sounds better sped up a bit. Punk it up. Yeah, but I mean, that's what Credence does with it. So I don't know, why not? Why not? Because I feel like that song got a lot of airplay. A lot of us, that's how we heard the song, right? My instinct is that the song was not as well known before Credence. I mean, people who were into American folk music, they certainly knew it. But when successful band like Credence was at that time, and when they do it, it all of a sudden it's like the song never went away. It's back again, and it becomes part of our musical fabric in a new way. It's always there, right? It's always there. Fun tune. You don't have to listen too closely to the Credence version to hear lots of twangy tremolo guitar, almost certainly with a bass string tuned down to D, so John Fogerty can get some nice, low D twangy tremolo riffs. So yeah, all right, you guys, nice. What else? Joseph is suggesting that the D. Yeah, using the suspended D chords as an ending. Sure. Can't go wrong with that. What Joseph is talking about is, if a song is ending on a D chord, instead of just strumming the D, you can mess around with like D with the open first string, just lift off your middle finger, and then a D chord. But even cooler, and maybe this was what you're talking about, Joseph, D with a pinky on the first string, 3rd fret. What a sweet ending, right? So what I just do right there, remember the premise here is that the song is going to end on a D chord anyways. Okay, so instead of just strumming the D chord, I put my pinky down, 1st string, 3rd fret. That's a D suspended 4, 1 strum. A regular D chord, 1 strum. A D suspended 2, that's a D chord with the open 1st string, no middle finger. And then what I just did, I strummed that D suspended 2 one more time and hammered down with my middle finger, essentially putting that middle finger back where it's supposed to be anyways, but I did that as a hammer-on. So sweet. Part of my progress, and I'm hoping part of your progress, is knowing trick after trick after trick. So you have more and more things in your vocabulary to just put in, like Joseph suggesting there for ending that tune that way. Like, why not? It's a great way to end a tune. And imagine having things like that for every chord. Song ends in a C chord, the song ends on a G chord. Imagine having more and more things like that. Christian, are you talking about Paul McCartney? Christian says Paul McCartney has a version of that song. Yeah, you might be right. Someone check. I mean, it's funny to think of, the chords, the progression, everything about this song is simple, right? So isn't it interesting to think of super talented, if not genius level musicians choosing to bang out a song that is a 3-chord song? I did it, you did it, aren't you curious as to the how does someone who could play any kind of pop song, including writing their own pop songs, how do they determine which cover songs to do? And do they feel self-conscious at all because the song is on paper, it's such an easy, basic song? Clearly they don't feel, they don't let it stop them. But isn't that interesting? You can play anything. Why play a super simple folk song? Because it's fun. I've been in that scenario where, long story short, I put together a little group, and we had a bunch of songs, a bunch of cover songs, including some stuff that was, harder than Midnight Special, right? And we had fun. We did okay. We had fun, but one of the highlights of the night was playing a folk tune not so different from Midnight Special. Doesn't matter which one, because maybe we'll do it for a play along sometime. But a song along these lines, right? And it was so fun to bang it out. It was easy to harmonize on. So yeah, that's for what it's worth, that's my 2 cents. Some songs are so easy that everybody can just relax and the audience, the listener can sense that, without a doubt. They sense when the band is having fun. And sure, bands can have fun on incredibly hard stuff, challenging stuff. But man, I mean, Ryan says, "Can I print this out?" Ryan, you might not be able to print it out from. Well, you could do a screenshot, but you know what, man? Just grab a pencil and just GDAD, man. GDAD. There you go. I will upload that to my website, but to do yourself a favor, man. GDAD. Oh, it's like if you said G Dad, like G Dad, can I have a new guitar? G Dad. There you go. Good times, good times. Hey, I reminded you guys earlier, but I'll tell you again, no live stream next week. I'm out of town on vacation next week. Next live stream will be Saturday, August 2. And I just want to make sure you guys know that. Okay. All right, check. Anybody curious about why I mentioned the Addams family? We have a couple of things coming up. Don't go anywhere. The Addams Family theme song, what you can learn from that, and When the Saints Go Marching In, what you can learn from that. So don't go anywhere. Let's share a couple of very cool websites with you guys. You know what just happened? I'll tell you. The Smithsonian Folklife Festival, it just happened, and you know who was there? Again, I'll tell you. The gentleman and family, really, that, among other things, they restore and address guitars belonging to Dolly Parton and other famous folks. So here's what I'm getting at. I'm going to put everything I'm about to say, I'm going to be putting this in the description of this video as well. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. Okay, excellent. Okay, if your screen goes black, don't worry. I know I always say that, but I'm aware that for some of you, it takes a while for this to pop up. So the Smithsonian Folklife Festival just happened, July 2nd through 7th. And why am I calling it to your attention? Because there's so much cool stuff that happened there. I'm scrolling. Don't worry, if your screen is still black, don't worry, there's time. I'm going to keep talking. Okay, what I'm clicking through to a link about the Delgado family, Mexican-American lutherie. That means guitar making, based in Nashville, Tennessee. And I know some of you can see this on your screen. I'm just going to read a little bit. The Delgado family has been making musical instruments entirely by hand for 4 generations, going back to 1928. And now they are based in Nashville. And look at those, the guy's daughters. Where are we here? Their father, Manuel Delgado, and his 2 daughters, Ava and Lila. And Ava and Lila have already been building guitars themselves as young as they are. So let's go to their website. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, I'd like a beautiful custom-made guitar from the guy who restores guitars for Dolly Parton, hold on to your hat. It's about a 3-year wait, I believe I read somewhere. So now I'm going to share the next. I'm going to stop sharing that one. I'm going to share the next page. Okay, Delgado Guitars. Here it comes. Here we go. Again, give it a minute. Delgado Guitars. Look at that workshop. For those of you who are seeing this on the screen, look at that. Look at that beautiful, gorgeous workshop. All different types of stringed instruments here. A minimum of 200 hours needed for each instrument to be made by hand. So I'm scrolling. Beautiful stuff. Okay, so again, why am I bringing this to your attention? Because the Smithsonian Folklife Festival just happened. I'm going to stop here. Their festival just happened, and I was informed, I became aware of the different people involved, including handmade instruments. Very interesting stuff. Joseph says that Paul McCartney does do the midnight special song on Bonnaroo at the Bonnaroo Festival. in 2013. Yeah, very cool. Fun. Why not, man? Why not? A great song is a great song. Okay, so I want to share that with you. I, for one, am going to keep my eyes open for future things from the Smithsonian Folklife Festival and Delgado Guitars. And that's a link. I'll put links to all this stuff in the chat. Okay, here's another one that, on a slightly more sober note, but super, super interesting. Music therapy as a way to help cancer survivors feel better. Okay, now this, okay, there we go. Music therapy. Now here's what I found so interesting. Again, the page hopefully will pop up on your computer screen pretty soon. Here's what I found so interesting about, I mean, we know music makes people feel better, right? We know that's, it's nice when science confirms it, but we all know that. But what I found out was so interesting, I'm going to see if I can find the exact quote here in this article. This is from an NPR story. And it was the fact that it was making music with the music therapist right there, in the room. That was sort of the most therapeutic. Okay, so those of you who can see this on the screen, the act of creation, it says, what sets music therapy apart from passive listening or simply playing music on one's own is the therapeutic collaboration. Through conversation and music creation, patients access another way to process their emotions. So I'm not a music therapist, not directly anyways, but I found that very interesting that there was more to it than just having a music therapist play some beautiful music for you, which is certainly a healing thing in its own way, I would feel. And it's not just the notion that when you sit and play an instrument, it's therapeutic and it can get your mind off of lots of things. It's the act of doing it with another person that is either ideal or at least a really valuable experience when you're healing, Very interesting. So again, I'll put a link to this in the description of this live stream. I wanted to share that with you guys. Okay, there we go. Check. Okay, you ready to play something? Hope you are. Have you voted in the poll? Vote. Do it. Why not? How about let's get right into the Addams family. I promise you, Addams family, and Addams family, you will get. Why are we talking about the Addams family? Well, again, the category or the segment of our program that I like to call WTF, a weekly teaching feature. Things that came up during my teaching week that I thought you guys might be interested in. And let me pull this up here. From the Addams family. There we go. You get some very interesting scale practice. Let me see if I can make this nice and big. You guys know I'd rather have this a little bit on the big side than a little bit on the small side. Okay. Here it comes your way. Give it a minute. Boom, boom. Okay, now some of you are hearing the tune in your head as we speak, and some of you have no idea what I'm talking about, the Addams family. That's okay. The Addams family, riveting American comedy TV series, and subsequently a major motion picture that had a distinctive theme song. So why would this catch a music teacher's attention, other than there's the novelty of it? What you get from the Addams family theme song is what I'm dramatically describing as the ultimate 4-note scale exercise. Very clickbait kind of sound. Whoever composed this, and I'm so sorry, I don't know the composer of this theme song. Whoever composed it, they took a major scale, in this case, the F major scale, F as in Frank. And they create a melody involving the first 4 notes of the F major scale in a row, like do, re, mi, fa. The first 4 notes of an F major scale. On the screen, hopefully you are seeing F, 4th string, 3rd fret. G string open, G string 2nd fret, G string 3rd fret. I highly encourage you to do it as a down, up, because why not? Now, there's only one other part to this theme song. The 4 notes of an F major scale suddenly turn into the 4 notes of a G major scale. That's it. F, G, G 2 more times, back to F 1 time. I know I'm leaving out the finger snaps. I'm counting on you to do that. Okay, so F, snap, snap, G, snap, 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 snap. Okay, is there much to this? Nah. This is not a super physical challenge, although, I encourage you to play all the 3rd fret notes with your ring finger, please. Play all the 2nd fret notes with your middle finger, please. 1st fret notes definitely with your pointer index finger. I encourage you to stay true, especially for the first 2 lines here. Stay true to that finger orientation. Essentially, I'm asking you to play it in 1st position. No pinky necessary. And the down, up picking, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, but kind of easy, right? Okay, so the ultimate 4-note scale exercise. Now let's kick it up a notch, because you knew there's going to be a second part to this, right? I'm going to scroll up a little bit, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, because here's where it gets good. Bigger, bigger, more. Okay. How about even bigger? Okay, stand by. Well, that's plenty big. Okay, so now a little bit harder, right? A little bit harder, but not for you. Essentially, we're playing a song 1 octave higher in a closed position. No more open strings. No more Mr. Nice Guy. So the F major scale, middle finger, please use your middle finger, 6 on the B string. Pinky, 8 on the B string. Index 5 on the E string. Middle finger, 6 on the E string. Down, up, down, up. Okay, that's half of it. That's the F major scale, the first 4 notes. Take your fretting hand, move it up 2 frets. The first 4 notes of a G major scale, right? Aside from just playing the right notes, I want to plant this idea in your head that F and G are musical neighbors. F anything moved up 2 frets gets you the G version of that thing. So we have the first 4 notes of an F major scale, move it up 2 frets, gets you the G major scale, the first 4 notes of a G major scale. Okay, easy peasy. So you can practice at least half a scale simply by playing the Addams Family theme song. And I encourage you to do both of these. The version on the first half of the page, I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. There we go. And the version on the second half of the page, the higher version that's musically higher and physically higher up the neck too. And again, the higher version, the one I just played, you want to spread out the work among, let's see, you need middle, pinky, index. You don't need your ring finger for the 6, 8, 5, 6, but please, please, please use your middle on 6, pinky on 8, index on 5, and then middle on the next 6, okay? Please use your pinky. Do it. Do it. Give your ring finger a day off. Good times, good times. Okay, there you have it. The Addams Family theme song, the ultimate 4-note exercise. Now I see in the chat, I'll put that on my website as well, song-bike.com. You guys are talking all about Wingo Vic Mizzy. Vic Mizzy is the name of the composer of that. And he also wrote the theme for Green Acres. And The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, which I haven't heard of that one. Green Acres, of course, I've heard of that one. That show and the theme song. The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. That is a new one to me. Interesting. Okay, so there you go. We have don't go anywhere, because now that we've done Paint It Black, we've done the Addams Family, and I have a little something to show you in a minute about When the Saints Go Marching In. Okay. Christian asking, great question. Christian says, do you have an opinion about the skill of tuning your guitar without using a tuner? Is it something worth practicing? And if yes, how? Yeah, I don't practice what I preach. Full disclosure. I clip on a tuner just like you guys. I imagine the vast majority of you clip a tuner onto your headstock, or you hold your phone, get your phone pretty close and just tune your phone. And I recommend that. I think it's great. Anything's better than playing out of tune. But Christian, since you ask, yeah, I mean, Leo Kottke, the famous American guitar player Leo Kottke, said tuning with different types of tuners, it erases your ear, to the extent that your ear develops over time. You get to be more and more sensitive to musical sounds as you play your instrument. The tuner, the way he put it, it erases it. It makes it less sensitive, because you don't have to listen to your own instrument, right? So in principle, I think everyone should use a tuning fork. And my tuning fork is over there. But tuning fork, don't know what it is, Google it, tuning fork. You gently tap it on something, not anything like hard and metallic. You don't want to put it out of tune, right? Usually your knee, your knee bone gets it vibrating. Then you take the tuning fork. I'm going to pretend this pen is a tuning fork. And if you hold it as it's vibrating, you hold it against the bridge of your guitar, then you can hear the vibrations from the tuning fork pouring out of your guitar. It's surprisingly loud, because wood is so good at reacting to those vibrations, passing on those vibrations. My tuning fork is a E note, and it sounds essentially, it's exactly what the skinny E string is supposed to sound like. So in a perfect world, every student I teach all week long, they'd come in, I'd grab the guitar, I'd hit the tuning fork, I'd hold it against the guitar, and I'd make sure the E string was perfectly tuned, their skinny first E string. I'd repeat it with a fat E string. I would just have to adjust my ear, right? Because I'd be hearing a lower sound, but E is E, right? Remember high notes and low notes, high E and lower E, and they all have a mathematical relationship, right? Vibrations double every time you go up an octave. If, and I should know this, I don't know this off the top of my head. If my fat E is vibrating at 100 vibrations per second, second fret of the fourth string, that would be a double amount of vibrations. Let's call it 200 vibrations per second. And the skinny open E string would be 400 vibrations per second. And then E at the 12th fret, that would be up to 800 vibrations per second. 100, 200, 400, 800, right? So bottom line is, I use a tuning fork to tune the two outside E's, easy peasy. And then, I mean, if in my ideal world, I would put the tuning fork away, and then I would compare the remaining strings using the 5th fret method, right? The 5th fret on one string tells you what the next skinny string should sound like as an open string. With one exception, you guys know this, right? If I want to hear what my second skinny B string should sound like, I go to my G string, the 3rd string, at the 4th fret, not 5th. And then comparing the two treble strings, I would go back to the 5th fret on the 2nd string. Okay, so now if I did that for 30 plus years, I like to think my ear would be pretty darn good at checking the guitars are in tune. I know there's other ways with harmonics and stuff. I'm just saying, sure, you can do it without a tuner. It takes patience. It takes a quiet environment. So with a lot going on, if you live in a noisy household, you can't hear it well enough. So tuners are incredibly convenient, but a tuning fork just can't cost that much. I mean, I haven't bought one recently, but it can't cost that much. So I encourage you to get a tuning fork. Make sure you get the note E. You can get them all different notes, but make sure you get the note E, and do it by ear. At least you could give yourself 5 minutes to do it by ear, say, and then double check your work with the tuner. The last thing I'm going to say on the subject, though, is keep in mind most halfway decent instruments do not go wildly out of tune unless someone goes crazy and turns the tuning knobs all over the place. If you played your guitar yesterday and you go to play it today and you think a certain string is way out of tune and you're turning the tuner and the knob and you're stop. Guitars do not go wildly out of tune overnight. Not unless you got a 2-year-old in your household who walked over and messed with the tuning knobs. Chances are you're doing what we all have done many times. You think you're tuning the 6th string, but you're turning the knob for the 5th string. Classic. I've done it. We've all done it. Just know that in this day and age, most of us have pretty decent guitars because even the less expensive guitars have some tuning stability. If you find yourself doing that a lot, it's you. It's not the guitar. It's you. Actually, a student brought in a guitar recently that wasn't staying in tune, and sadly, it was the wooden bridge here of his acoustic guitar was really substantially lifting off. I mean, there's just a little bit of glue holding it on. It could have popped off at any minute. He hadn't noticed that. So yeah, that's why his guitar wasn't staying in tune, because literally there's no stability down here. Good rule of thumb: if you can take a piece of paper or a business card, and if there's enough of a gap that you can work the piece of paper or business card between the dark brown bridge of your acoustic guitar and the face of the guitar, yeah, then it's time to bring it. In fact, it's the perfect time to bring it, to have it re-glued, because you're catching it early. Worst case scenario, and this is what I told him, that he wakes up in the morning, not only is the bridge lifted off completely, and now it definitely needs to be glued back on, but it's possible that as the bridge became unglued and pulled away from the guitar, it could easily tear at the surrounding wood and really, damage the integrity of the face of the instrument. And you don't want to do that, especially because it's avoidable. So I encourage all of you to grab a piece of paper right now if you're playing an acoustic guitar. And I mean, some of you might have a gap big enough that you can see there's a gap. You don't need to do any tests with a piece of paper. But if you're not sure, yeah, business card. And but the good news is it's so repairable, and it's so common that any decent luthier, any decent guitar tech is 100% prepared to do that. They do it all the time. They might need your guitar for a couple of days because they want to glue it, clamp it, make sure it's stable, make sure it's not going anywhere. So so go out and buy yourself a second guitar in the meantime. There you go. Rick G says nylon string guitars get out of tune often. The strings are always stretching. Now I take your word for it. I've had good luck with the nylon string guitars in my life, but I tune all the time anyways. So I mean, or put it this way, I'm accustomed to tuning. I've trained myself. I mean, I pick up a guitar and I assume it's going to be a little bit out of tune. I don't take anything for granted. So I haven't had a nylon string guitar that is problematic, but in general, I don't let a guitar. No, I shouldn't say that. I just assume I pick up any guitar and tune it up. I just assume it needs a little bit of tuning. So I don't get in that scenario where it's wildly out of tune. Yeah. Wingo says the Ghost and Mr. Chicken is a must-see Don Knotts movie that includes the most terrifying musical interlude you've ever heard. I kid you not. All right, let's all listen to that. Wingo, I'm going to make a note, and if you're right, I'll put a link, a YouTube link to that in the chat. Ghost, I'm going to write right here, Ghost and Mr. Chicken. I would have liked to have been at that pitch, around the TV studio executives table. I got a great show for you. How about this one, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken? I don't know. All right. We're going to get to our next teaching segment in a second. Little twist, little thing about when the Saints go marching in. Do you know Susie, Ibarra, Ibarra, the first Filipino to win a Pulitzer Prize for music, and an extremely talented person. So chalk one up for people whose heritage goes back to the Philippines, and very, very interesting drummer, composer. I'm going to put a link in the description of this live stream to her website, and a chance for you to hear some of her music. A Pulitzer Prize in music, man. I want to hear any music created by anybody who got a Pulitzer Prize for music. Very interesting. There's so many talented young people. When I say young, at this point, I mean anyone younger than me. And there's so many of them out there doing interesting, fascinating stuff. Her music has a lot of traditional instruments from the Philippines. Sort of some environmental aspects to her music. Do you know number two? Do you know Larry and Joe? They've been described as Latin grass, a combination of music from was it from Venezuela, combined with Appalachian music from the Carolinas. Larry and Joe. I'm going to put this in the description of this live stream, but LarryandJoe.com. I'll put a link to one of the YouTube videos. Very beautiful stuff. Imagine a banjo being joined by a beautiful like harp, like a classical harp. Ooh, beautiful stuff. Larry and Joe, also pretty young guys. One more, someone whose name you might remember. Remember Jim Kweskin? Jim Kweskin has a new album out. Jim Kweskin and his Jug Band, with a great singer named Maria Moldauer. You guys know Maria Moldauer, of course. Well, Jim Kweskin is not a young guy, but he has a new album out called Doing Things Right. And as I was putting together this show today, I realized in my research about Jim Kweskin that his birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday, Jim Kweskin. I came across that on July 17th when I was, looking for people to talk about during today's show. And I thought, oh, what are the chances, man? Jim Kweskin's birthday was yesterday. So there you go. New album called Doing Things Right. And in the description of this live stream, I'm going to put a link to his website and to the Wikipedia page that tells you lots and lots about Jim Kweskin. Awesome jug band music, big influence on a lot of people such as the Grateful Dead and the Lovin' Spoonful and others. So the third of our three featured people in the Do You Know segment, Susie, Ibarra, Larry and Joe, and Jim Kweskin. All of this stuff will be in the description of this live stream. What I've been doing, you guys, recently is I've been banging out the time stamping for our live streams essentially in the hour or so right after this concludes. I just found it's kind of faster and easier than waiting until tomorrow morning. So, give me a minute, but I'll be populating the description of this live stream little by little, as soon as this wraps up. Okay, I'm looking at what you guys are talking about in the chat. Martian Murray says, once a nylon string stays in tune, it's time to change the strings. The haunted organ theme. Wingo, that's what the musical interlude is of The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. Okay, the haunted organ theme. All right, I'm laughing. I probably won't sleep tonight. I'm sure it'll be terrifying. Beginning guitar lessons is our moderator tonight, one of our moderators, and he is suggesting that you guys might want to throw a thumbs up to this live stream. Can I give myself a thumbs up? I guess I can't right now. I guess I have to wait. I guess I have to wait until after. Oh well. So someone give me a thumbs up from me. Someone do it for me. We have a lot of likes already, but never hurts to have another one. Thank you. Okay. We did this. I told you no live stream next week, but I'll see you August 2nd. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just do a search for the term SongBike. You'll find me, SONGBIKE. That's how you can stay up to date on lots of stuff, including when I'm going to head over to Buck Dancer's Choice Music Store in Portland, Maine, sometime next week. Scott Rhodes says the Ghost and Mr. Chicken is a fun horror comedy, and the organ thing is spectacular. Oh, now I want to know who the organ player is. But what we said, Vic Mizzy. Vic Mizzy is the composer. Also a new name. A new name for me. Now I know. Vic Mizzy. Very interesting. Okay, you guys, let's check in with our poll results. Have you voted? We're checking with the poll results, and I'll show you a little something about when the Saints go marching in. The poll question of the night: you're most likely to practice what? 69% of you say you practice a mix of songs and scales. You're not just saying that because you know that's what I want to hear, are you? And the other two answers are actually split right down the middle. 16% of you only play songs, and 16% of you only play scales and exercises and that type of thing. Boy, that surprises me. I mean, believe me, I think it's awesome. But I didn't assume that number would be so big. Yeah, it's great. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Whatever gives you satisfaction. I'll say this. One thing that an exercise or a scale does is it takes away the pressure of having this ultimate goal, playing Sweet Home Alabama exactly like Leonard Skinner, switching chords fast enough on Midnight Special so you can play along with Creedence Clearwater Revival, right? When you play a scale, it's great, and you can work on your technique, down up picking, staying on the tips of your fingers, etc., right? You work on your speed. But if you do it slowly, and it sounds great, awesome. Medium, fast, sounds great. You do it fast, you can push yourself to go faster, but it is what it is. It's a self-contained thing, and you come to it as whoever you are, as opposed to trying to sound like Eric Clapton, right? So there's something kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Forgiving, welcoming. Let's use the word welcoming. There's something welcoming about, simple scale, a simple exercise. You do what you can. You're never going to be done with it, especially anything that's worth your time. An arpeggio exercise, a picking exercise. If it's worth your time, you're going to be doing it for until you can't do it anymore. Yeah, Rick G is saying that when he changes some nylon strings or any strings, he stretches them a little bit and then retunes it until it stays. Yeah, when that's how I was taught too. You know what I'll do someday? Someday I'll restring my guitar during the live stream, and I'll tell a few jokes or something. But I'll talk about it as I do it. And one thing you'll see when that day comes is, tune up my fat E string with the understanding that the string is still stretching because it's brand new. This is true of nylon strings, steel strings, electric, acoustic, whatever. And the way I was taught, I grab the new string with my picking hand, and I push down with my thumb towards the other strings and up with my, 2, 3, 4 fingers. And by up, I mean up, up towards my chin. And essentially, I'm putting an S-shaped curve, so to speak, in the string. And I do that up and down. I might do it like this, 7 or 8 bends. It's going to be out of tune. That's okay. Tune it back up, do it a second time. Tune it back up, do it a third time. By about the 5th time, this whole thing takes maybe 2 minutes tops. By the 5th time, it's barely going out of tune at all. It might not even be going out of tune, despite my stretching. And then it's all set. Think about it this way. Some rock star breaks a string in concert. The tech runs out, hands him a fresh guitar, takes the old guitar backstage. What's that tech doing? Replacing the string, hustling back out. You think they're giving the guitar player back a guitar where the string is not going to stay in tune? No, they did. I'm guessing what I was taught to do, which is you stretch the string, and then you get pretty darn confident it's going to stay in tune, and the show can go on. So there's no reason why a guitar string can't stay in tune within a couple of minutes after being put on. assuming everything was done correctly and everything is stable. And yeah. Joseph says, did I ever play Teddy Bear's Picnic? Yeah, did I ever play that? I know the tune. I must have. Oh, I'm thinking of another Teddy Bear song. But no, I've never played Teddy Bear's Picnic, but I have heard it. He says it has an ominous sound. If you go out in the woods today, right? That's how the song starts off. Any song that starts off, if you go out in the woods today, it's like, it sets a tone. For a minute, I got it confused with Waltzing with Bears, which is a great bear song. Scott says, a maintenance episode might be interesting. Sure. Yeah. Yep. I know what I know about guitar maintenance and how things are done. But there are plenty of aspects to guitar maintenance where there's more than one way to do it. So I can show you what I was taught. I worked in a guitar shop just outside Chicago for 10 years. 10 years, yeah. And my boss at the shop was a certified Martin repair guy, and was he certified by Gibson too? He did a lot of authorized Martin repairs, and then repairs on everything that just came through the shop. So I would see what he did, and sometimes he would kick something over to me if there was something that I couldn't mess up, like putting new strings on or something. I did a lot of restrings. So I learned what he did, which I'm sure is slightly different from what everyone else did. Oh, one more thing. The thing about stretching strings, it takes a certain amount of muscle, but don't go crazy. I have, especially on like this, the first E string, I have stretched it too much and broken the brand new string because I had a healthy lunch or something. Maybe had too much coffee. So yeah, just be firm, but a little gentle. Another thing is, either I was taught or intuitively, I don't stretch the string too close to the nut of the guitar because I don't want a whole lot of wiggling right there. It just seems like it's a vulnerable spot. I want that string to be stable. What I often do is I take my fretting hand and I kind of flatten it out. I'm gently squeezing across all 6 strings. So the guitar sounds like that, right? And then I do the stretching. It makes me feel like the stretching is not going to affect I'm not going to be making the string do anything weird in the nut. I'm going to leave that part of the neck alone. Okay. Chris Create says, is there a teddy bear theme for Leave It to Beaver? I don't know. That show, I was just a little bit, I never really quite saw Leave It to Beaver. I saw like a few episodes back in the day. Okay. Hey, how about one more thing before I say goodnight? Let's talk about that awesome thing called When the Saints Go Marching In. And why are we doing this? Well, I'll tell you. Sort of like the Addams Family. There we go. Sort of like the Addams Family. When you really do a deep dive into When the Saints Go Marching In, it gives you the perspective on scales and stuff. Okay. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, but not too big. Okay, let's start with that size right there. If your screen is going black, don't worry. It all should be revealed. Okay. So I'll cut right to the chase. The main melody. That 4-note phrase, it is so clearly related to a major scale. I thought it might be interesting to talk about for just a second, and then we'll go on and play the whole melody, the rest of the melody. Okay, so I chose to do this in the key of G because the G major scale you see at the top of the page is just so darn accessible. Right? No big deal. It's right there waiting for you. Easy peasy. Again, for your fretting hand, to play that G major scale, first position for your fretting hand, meaning index finger plays all the 1s, middle finger plays all the 2s, ring finger plays all the 3s. You just don't need to use your pinky finger, so I don't recommend using your pinky finger. Down, up, picking with your right hand. You've heard all this stuff before. Okay, now we're about to play When the Saints Go Marching In, and it does not use all those notes. In fact, it only uses the first 5 notes of the major scale. But I want to give you a little perspective. So check it out. The main theme, oh, when the saints, instead of just saying the numbers 0, 0, 1, 3, I'm going to encourage you to look at it from a new perspective. Here's the new perspective. Calling each one of those notes by the scale degree. The first note is literally the first note of the scale. The open G string, right? It's the first note of, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, but it's also the first note of a G scale. The next note you play, right under the word when, is the third note of the G scale, the open B string. Next comes the fourth note of the G scale, and finally the fifth note of G scale. So you might never have thought about this before, but one way to describe the melody of When the Saints Go Marching In is first note, third note, fourth note, fifth note, because I'm using the major scale as my reference. First, third, 4, 5, 1, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 4, 5. Now, I know this is a little bit weird because you're looking at the numbers in terms of the tab, 0, 0, 1, 3. So that's why this is a little bit of a new perspective. We're talking about where each of those notes falls along the G major scale. The first note, the third, the fourth, the fifth. Looking at a song, a melody this way, you can do this with any song, right? Every song is based on some scale, right? And the major scale is the absolute most common. Any melody is based on some scale, and therefore every note you sing or play, every note, I'm talking about the individual notes, we're not talking about chords at the moment. Any note you're singing or playing, it falls somewhere, in the scale. And that's why I put the scale at the top of the page. So first note, third, fourth, fifth, first note, third, fourth, fifth, first note, third, fourth, fifth, third, first, third, second. Total coincidence that the second note is also the second fret on the G string. Yes, that's a coincidence, Right now, I stopped on the third line halfway through. Saints Go Marching In, right under the word in on the third line. I'm about to do How I Want. Here comes How I Want. Third note of the scale, second note, first note, first, third, fifth, 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 fourth. The fourth, what? Yeah, the fourth degree of the scale, which happens to be the note C, which happens to be the second string, first fret. That's the first time we've had a new note so far. We're talking about under the word, under number, under the burr of number, line 4, second note of line 4. That note is the fourth degree of the G scale. And up to this moment, we had not needed that note. Now we need it. Okay, continuing on. The last 7 notes. When the Saints. Third degree, fourth, fifth, third, first, second, first. Weird, right? For some of you, this is like you never thought of a song this way before. No big deal. So we need 5 notes of the major scale to play this melody. Oh, no, yes, I'll stand by that. I misspoke. Of course, we used the 4th scale degree. It's the third note of the song. Oh, when the, yeah. So the 4th note shows up all over the place. It was that second degree of the scale that was the little anomaly. 2 on the 3rd string. So disregard what I said about the 4th degree of the scale. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Interestingly, this classic, timeless melody goes back to the turn of the century, give or take, is based on 5 notes of the major scale, the first 5 notes. So I would say it's not a very ambitious melody. It's a timeless melody, but it's 5 notes, Is it pentatonic? Not in the sense that I would say pentatonic, because pentatonic, even though 5 tones, but pentatonic, the way I look at it, it's 5 very specific notes. The 5 notes of a pentatonic scale. It's not just any 5 notes. So I guess in a strict definition, I wouldn't call this song a pentatonic melody, but in a broader sense, yeah, I mean, it's 5 tones, so I guess I wouldn't apply it though. If I had to, I would just say this song uses the first 5 notes of a major scale, and the reason we're doing it in the key of G is because the key of G, the major scale is kind of an easy scale to play. That's at the top of the page. Okay, so I hope you have fun playing the melody, but I knew you could play the melody. I'm sure you sound great. The real reason we're doing this is because it's very clear how focused this melody is on the major scale. I mean, it's right there, the first 5 notes, and the one of the notes barely shows up. The note A, which is the 3rd string, 2nd fret, it only shows up that one time on line 3, and then it shows up as the second to last note. So in this case, yeah. Okay, there you go. Just want to give you a little perspective. Lots of people think of melodies this way, like what notes from the scale am I using? We are so geared towards tab, and we love tab and we love our numbers, and nothing wrong with that. Just want to give you a different perspective. Okay, and this is another PDF that I will put on my website. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, you guys, last call for questions. Don't forget, I'm on vacation in a minute. I won't see you again till August 2nd. Hey, you can always go back and watch previous live streams. In the description of this video, of every live stream, I always put a link to the playlist of previous ones. So if you missed any, or if you just want to go back to some of the virtual play-alongs and play along again, how cool would that be? Okay, I see tons and tons of check marks. I want to say hi to my mom. My mom is often watching these live streams. Hi to my wife, music fan. Music fan has not had to jump in and wrangle you guys. Thank you to Beginner Guitar Lessons for being our moderator, who also has not had to wrangle you guys, to my knowledge. Thank you for being here, Beginner Guitar Lessons. Who's in town? I'm going to mention 3 names real quick. Griffin House, a songwriter named Griffin House, is coming through my neck of the woods. He might be coming through your neck of the woods. I'll put a link to one of his YouTube videos. Paul from Peter, Paul, and Mary is also coming through my area. And great blues performer Rick Estrin and the Nightcats is also coming through my neck of the woods with Kid Anderson on guitar, great blues player. I'll put a link to a video of Rick Estrin playing with Kid Anderson in the description of this live stream. That's who's coming through my neck of the woods, and they might just be coming through your area too. All right, you guys, I think that's going to do it. I'll see you August 2nd. Head over to song-bike.com. You can become a member and access all sorts of great stuff. Get the free blues guide. There's lots of other stuff for sale there. Don't be shy. Poll results. Yeah, the majority of you practice songs and scales, but about 17% do nothing but songs, and about 15% do scales and exercises only. Very interesting. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram. That's how you know where I'm at over the next week. And I hope maybe I'll see some of you in the state of Maine. If you have any reason to be in southern Maine, send me a message. Let me know. All right. Thank you to everybody who made Super Chat donations. I appreciate that. Yeah, that'll do it, you guys. I hope you have a great 2 weeks. I wish you much musical time with your instrument, and stay cool out there. And I'm sure I'll have a story to tell in 2 weeks. All right, you guys. Thanks for being here. See you next time.